Right then, hump day. For some of us. Not this guy, though. Even though I got a woman in my world that's ready, willing, and able. As a pair of her bloomers used to say back in the day. You know those panties that chicks get that have sayings on the back? Hottie or whatever. Yeah, apparently she had a pair that said ready, willing, and able or something like that. She likes to knock boots. This is a good thing. Plays right into my wheelhouse, even though I'm a sad disappointment in that area due to my medical situation and my old age. But anyway, I digress. It is a rainy, gloomy day, but this is awesome for my new grass seed. Yeah, we don't have any big downpours coming down to wash anything away, so it's a nice, gentle, spritzing, sprinkling rain. Yeah, perfect. Miserable weather for everything else, but if you're trying to grow a lawn, this is the shit. The lawn is coming in good. While I was on my knees cutting those stumps, last night I did see a lot of grass seed on the ground that hadn't germinated or sprouted or anything yet. So I'm hoping that those take off, because if they do, I'll have nice thick coverage on that hillside. Yeah. So sweet. Scrunchy must be really wigged out about this situation she's got at work. She's got some closings on some real estate that have turned into a shit show, and she must be really wigging out over it because she's not communicating much. She's pretty radio silent. So this is one of those deals where, you know, I pay attention to patterns, and this isn't something bad. I'm not faulting her for this, but I pay attention to patterns and things, and this is how I learn a person. And so based on this behavioral change, which again is not bad, I'm not being negative here, I've learned about Scrunchy that if something's bothering her, it's gonna fester like a boil. Yeah, and she's gonna sit alone in her dark room at night, pontificating on it, and spool it up into something bigger than what it really is, possibly, if it's something, you know, pertaining to us or something like that. She's an overthinker, overanalyzer. Yeah. So then that means you become your own worst enemy. Now, I'm guilty of the same thing myself, so I'm not passing judgment. I'm sweating the trailer situation. I'm sweating camp, you know, getting those sold so I can free up income. Yeah. Get rid of expenditure. So that's what's weighing heavy on my mind right now. Her situation at work is weighing heavy on her, so she's been radio silent. Whereas normally she chimes in the morning and throughout the day and things like this. But again, I don't care. I don't mind. It's not a red check mark on the calendar. I know it's a circumstantial situation, and it's one of the personality traits of Scrunchy that I'm learning. If she goes radio silent, something's bothering her. She's immersed in her own little world at that moment. And either I ask questions to find out if it's something to do with me, or I just let her ride it out and offer support and advice in any way that I can. That's my job as a teammate. But I got 2 calls today. One's way up in Iron River, Michigan on a dryer not working, not powering up. So I'm hoping it's a simple fuse, which I happen to have one sitting here in the dash. And then the other one is hanging a microwave door and a control panel that DTR diagnosed out east, in the eastern edge of the state, in an area called Shawano. So, a lot of miles, a lot of drive time, and very little strenuous work. So, woot woot. So my dad corresponded again today in regards to coming up to visit. He said, I don't want you to take vacation if you don't want to. I'll just stay at the lake house, and while you're at work, and go out in the rowboat, explore, things like that. And I'm like, well, I can't think of a better way to burn up some vacation, which I have to do before the end of the year, use it or lose it. So I'll take a couple of days and turn it into like a 4 or 5 day time off in conjunction with a weekend. Something along those lines. Yeah. But that'll be cool. I tried to get him to come up in the first part of October, because he said he wants to experience fall, autumn. But he doesn't want to make it that late. He wants to do it this month. So I'll have to pontificate here, think about it, get my vacation request in, all that other good stuff, so that I can make that happen. So he's just basically sitting on his laurels waiting for me to let him know when he should head up. Now, one thing I don't like, and Mia brought this up back in the day when there was talk about him coming up to visit. At his age and with his driving habits, I'm getting a little more concerned about him making this 20-hour one-way trip. He was talking last night about this. Oh yeah, I'll just drive through the night. No, man. It's bad enough it's an 85-year-old man driving a new electric car that has all kinds of torque and power and speed. He's blind in his left eye. He never was a good driver to begin with. Mia was talking back in the day that we would fly him up for the visit and fly him back. I don't know how she was, or what she was thinking. She didn't elaborate. She just talked in riddles. I don't know if she was planning on buying him I can't afford it. I can't afford a 2-way ticket from Florida. No. Until the trailer's sold and camp is sold, I'm still a broke loser. So, living paycheck to paycheck. So I don't know if she was planning on flying him up on the family Learjet or what, but yeah, we gotta fly your dad up. I don't want him driving. I don't either, but ugh. Can't afford the plane ticket. And I'm not going to suggest it and then make him buy the plane ticket. If he was concerned about it, which of course he's never concerned about it, you know, he's one of these guys, well, I got this. You know, he's 85 years old and he's climbing around on the roof of his house, putting Christmas decorations on the top of his chimney. So he's one of those guys. I can do this. Blatant disregard for his age and his current health status. It's only a matter of time. There's going to be a calamity. So he's not going to come right out and say, well, I'm not going to drive this time. I'm going to buy a plane ticket and come up. He'll never do that. We would have to do it for him. And then, as proud and modest as he is, he would probably resoundingly reject the offer and the situation. It's just how he is. He doesn't want to impose. Yeah. He did mention, though, while he's here, he wants to get out in the rowboat for some exercise and some exploring. This means I got to get my ass down to Fleet Farm store, or around here. There's a couple of farm stores here, and buy a pair of oars for the boat. Yeah. The oars that I did have, I left out in the weather, and they're all rotted and gone. So I got to get a whole new set of oars for the boat. Yep. So put that on the list of things to do. Other than that, I really got nothing new to report. Everybody in the peanut gallery, including Mia, has gone radio silent, and that's okay. Yeah. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little concerned about the diva, succubus, mongoose, gold digger. My route yesterday had me driving by her salon, and Tuesdays are the days she works, and she wasn't there. And karma's kicking her ass, and she's experiencing some bad health issues. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little concerned. I do care about her, you know. So I'm tempted to reach out, but you know what? I don't think I'm gonna. No. Tired of playing this cat and mouse game with people. I'm tired of putting out the effort to show that I care, and they don't reciprocate to show that they care, but yet when they do talk, they tell you all day long that they love you and they care, and I think about you every day. Well, your behaviors don't back up your words, and that's the character trait of a master liar. The first inclination is to spew out a lie. Behaviors always back up your words. Got a hold of Rob this morning out on the porch over coffee and a pipe, and told him, I said, yep, the time has come. We have to put the universal joint in the driver's side front axle. When I'm turning corners, I can hear it knucking, so it's wore out. And I asked him what he was doing this upcoming weekend. He's got, believe it or not, he's got his Christmas party for his company. I said, that's ludicrous. What? He says, well, their line of thinking is, this time of year, there's really not much going on in people's worlds outside of the kids going back to school and whatnot. So it's a good time to have a Christmas party versus trying to have the Christmas party during the actual holiday season when everybody has plans with their families and relatives and traveling and stuff. I go, yeah, that makes sense. So he literally is having his company Christmas party this upcoming weekend. Yeah. So he can't do it this weekend, but I'm penciled in for next weekend. So I got to limp the Jeep through. I got to lubricate that universal joint every other day just so that it doesn't grind itself to death and I can't steer the truck. So that's what I'll do. And at the same time, we're going to put a whole new set of brake pads on all four corners, and we're going to rotate the tires. I was looking at those tires this morning, and I don't think they'll make it through another season, warm weather season. I don't run them in the winter. They're hazardous in the winter, but they're getting so worn down that they're going to get to the point where they're going to start to cup and pucker, and then that gets dangerous on a Jeep. That's what gives you death wobble, where your steering wheel starts to shimmy in your hands and you'll lose control and roll the vehicle. The tires are not going to make it another season. That's $1,500 for a set of tires for this truck. Yeah, not a fan. Check engine light has not come back on for the power control module fault code that it threw the other day. Ever since I unplugged and replugged in the harness and zip tied it shut. So fingers crossed. But that's the main computer on this vehicle, and that's pricey. And then you can't install it yourself because it has to be programmed to the vehicle. So that literally has to be done at a service garage where they have the programming software to reprogram the module to fit your vehicle. Kind of like what I have to do with GE appliances. If I put a new main brain in a GE washing machine, I have to program that brain to work with that specific serial number of that washing machine. Yep. That would be a big bill. A couple grand. I don't have that. I'm trying to think of a project to do with my dad. By the time he comes here, I think the kitchen will pretty much be done at the trailer. So I'm trying to think of a project that he and I can do for old time's sake that we can work on. I'm thinking I'm gonna start the shop job. Yep. I want to have that shop built by winter. Yeah. There's nothing worse than having a vehicle breakdown in the winter. Like what happened with the Jeep when I was living at the trailer and the alternator went out. And standing out there when it's 5 below, wrenching on your vehicle. I got a 1,000 square foot garage. And it's a shame to not be able to pull a disabled vehicle, into a heated shop and work on it in comfort and ease. So before I start playing around with redecorating any bedrooms or tearing apart the lounge downstairs and remodeling that, I better pour my money and my time into getting that shop done so that can all get organized and I can use it. So I think that's the next project. So if my dad comes up, I think what we'll do is we'll start the wiring. We'll start running wires in the walls. And we'll start putting up insulation. Yep. That's probably about all we'll have time for. So I basically have to draw up a blueprint of how I want this shop laid out, how many outlets I want on each wall, light fixtures, power points for the welders, power point for the heat source. I gotta buy the heat source, which is Sunfire Radiant heater that runs on diesel fuel. Power point for the air conditioner I'm going to install. I got to map all this out just like I did in my old shop when I built that, and then buy a bunch of wire, and we're going to wire up a service panel and stub in all the outlets stub in the light fixtures up top, and that's probably all we're going to be able to get done. I got to buy rolls of insulation to stuff in the walls, stuff in the ceiling. Yep. That'll be the project. And the shitty thing about it is that I got to work around the pile of stuff for the shop. All the tools, the steel, shop stuff that's currently piled in a big pile in the middle of the floor of the shop bay. We got to work around the outside edge of it. It'll be okay. I've done it before. I did it with my first shop. I could do it again. It's going to be fun. Yeah. I love doing that kind of stuff. Taking something that's nothing and turning it into something. Yeah. It's gonna be a good time. And that will be my man den, my man shop. Yeah. If I ever got to get away from Scrunchy because she's crabby or punchy and I don't want to poke the bear, all right, I'm going out in the shop. Go out in the shop, fire up the heater, turn up the tunes, wrench on an Argo, something along those lines. Yeah, it's a good thing. So, all right, that's all I got. We're gonna get her going, and I'll talk to you soon.